Every day around the world, millions of people place their trust in farmers, wholesalers, retailers and food establishments to provide them with food and drink which is wholesome, nutritious and pest-free. They're entitled to expect the best quality and the highest standards of food safety. What they don't expect is an uninvited guest at their meal table. Food legislation demands scrupulous hygiene in and around the workplace. This involves strict temperature control, good hygiene practices, high standards of personal hygiene, and, of course, keeping pests out of food and food premises. Pests are a serious food hazard and must be controlled. Because many pests carry harmful bacteria, they may be a microbiological hazard as well as a physical hazard. It's an offence to supply or serve food which is unfit for consumption, and food may be unfit if it's contaminated by bodies, eggs, larvae, pupae or droppings. Even tainting of food as a result of contact with pests will render the food unacceptable for human consumption. Infestation of premises or the sale of contaminated food results in large fines, closure of food premises and even imprisonment of those found guilty. This means that it's vital to know what the common food pests are and how to spot them in your premises. A pest can be defined as any creature that's in the wrong place at the wrong time. For example, a mouse on a wood stump in a forest glade may be an endearing creature. But a mouse in a tin of peas or a loaf of bread is most certainly a pest. Food pests live in or on man's food and are destructive, noxious or troublesome. They must be excluded from any area where food is stored, prepared or eaten. The common pests found in the food industry include insects such as cockroaches, flies, wasps and moths, stored product insects, ants, rats and mice, birds such as pigeons, sparrows and starlings, and even cats and dogs. Pests must be controlled to prevent the spread of disease, to prevent food contamination and waste food, to prevent damage such as flooding or fires caused by rodents gnawing pipes or electrical wires, to prevent a loss of customers' business and profit, to avoid losing staff and to comply with food legislation. Pests such as the cockroach. One of the Earth's oldest inhabitants, it will happily live alongside man as well as under his feet in the sewers and drains. They move from these environments of filth and disease into our restaurants, cafes and supermarkets, spreading pathogenic organisms such as food-poisoning bacteria and fungi. Cockroaches are recognized as one of the major threats to public health. To be graphic for a moment, let's consider the habits of a cockroach. They're happy to eat food prepared for us, but they also eat a wide range of other materials, including rat droppings and even the disease-ridden feces of their fellow cockroaches. Their tough, segmented bodies provide ideal harbourage for a wide range of organisms. Having picked up its cargo of bacteria, viruses and fungi, the cockroach then moves over work surfaces and food, spreading potential pathogens far and wide. Foodborne illnesses such as salmonellosis and dysentery have been clearly linked to cockroach infestations, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume transmission of Campylobacter, E. coli 0157 and typhoid, which only need a few organisms to cause illness. To demonstrate the infective capability of a cockroach, we let one run over an agar petri dish. Watch as we speed up the film to show development of harmful bacteria. Monitoring for the presence of cockroaches is straightforward. Check incoming goods for live insects. Look for their egg cases and fecal spotting in cracks and crevices, and be aware of any strange, musty odours that might signify their presence. Crawling insect monitors positioned around the building will give an early warning that cockroaches are present. Place these close to likely harbourages. They show the numbers, life cycle stage, and even the direction of the infestation. At this point, the professional pest controller can apply an appropriate pesticide to give the best kill rate. Cockroaches pose a serious threat to human health, but another creature is even more dangerous. Flies can travel significant distances, and they can fly quickly between areas of filth such as dung heaps, bin areas, and refuse tips, straight into food environments. Some people would be extremely concerned if they saw a cockroach in a cafe or bar, but strangely, they seem more tolerant of flies, if only they knew of its habits. Flies, like cockroaches, feed on rotting flesh, animal droppings, and other waste. They then move on to your food. In order to feed, flies vomit previous meal remains onto the food to liquefy it before sucking back the digested food. The process contaminates the food with bacteria, as does defecation, which is usually carried out at the same time. Bacteria from the bodies and legs are the third way in which our food is contaminated. Let's have a look at just a few of these fly species. The fruit fly, the house fly, the drain fly, and the blowfly. And even wasps, so common around food, are potentially lethal. Nearly 50% of all deaths from venomous animals can be attributed to wasp stings. As well as winged insects, we mustn't forget those species which crawl. Stored product insects such as flower beetles, grain weevils, biscuit beetles, and book lice can quickly infest foodstuffs. The only course of action is disposal, followed by suitable treatment. Ants occasionally cause problems for food premises. The garden ant is mainly of nuisance value, although any contaminated food must be discarded. Pharaoh's ants, which are much smaller, are a much more significant problem. They may transmit pathogens to food from drains, excreta, or soiled dressings from hospitals, and they're much more difficult to control. Reputable pest control operators should be employed to deal with ant infestations, as treatment will probably involve long-lasting insecticides. Not all pests are insects. Larger, four-legged animals cause tremendous damage and spoilage in food environments. Spotting these animals can be difficult. They're principally nocturnal, but conveniently they leave behind telltale signs of their activities. Don't forget the outside areas. Skips, compactors, and bins are very attractive to pests, including rodents, birds, and even cats and foxes. We now know that simple hygiene measures will remove the spillages that these creatures find so interesting. So, these are some of the pests that may invade food environments. What can you do about them? If you work in an establishment that stores, makes, or serves food, the first step is to be aware of the potential problems. By watching this video, you now know at least some of the problems a pest infestation can cause. Vigilance of food handlers and regular surveys by professional pest control operatives are essential to detect signs of pests and ensure premises are pest-free. Signs to look for include live or dead bodies, larvae, eggs and pupae from insects, droppings from rodents, birds or cockroaches, damage to wood or plaster, holes in sacks, boxes and packets, spillages adjacent to food sacks caused by rodents, fur and nesting material, footprints and tail marks in dust such as flour, and rodent smears around pipes and on walls adjacent to rodent pathways.
Pest control involves removing or denying pests environmental factors such as security and shelter, denying access by care in design, maintenance and proofing of buildings. Building defects such as broken windows and holes around pipes should be remedied quickly. Good housekeeping involves removing food and potential harbourage. Good housekeeping covers all of these. Keep premises and refuse areas in a clean and tidy condition. Always keep lids on waste bins. After emptying, bins and the surrounding area should be hosed down, and waste should never be allowed to accumulate. Always keep food on display or awaiting preparation covered. Clean as you go and remove spillages promptly. Never leave food outside. Always store food off the floor and clear of walls to help regular inspection. Stock should be checked regularly, and damaged or contaminated stock should be removed and destroyed. Food should be stored in pest-proof containers and always replace lids. Check all deliveries of raw materials and ensure packaging and laundry are free from infestation. Keep drains clean and in good condition. Taps should be well maintained to prevent dripping, and all gullies should have tight-fitting metal covers. Remove vegetation and other cover in the immediate vicinity of food premises. Make regular inspections, and any sightings of pests or pest damage should be reported to management immediately.
If, despite all your best endeavours, a pest infestation occurs, you must take immediate measures to remove it. Pests should not be tolerated. Physical control methods are preferred, as the pest is caught either dead or alive. Electric fly control units are essential to remove flying insects that gain entry to food rooms. However, expert advice on sighting is essential to ensure they're effective and flies can't drop or blow out of the catch tray and contaminate food or food contact surfaces. Some fly control units with sticky boards are now available to prevent this problem. Traps may be used to catch rodents, but the use of rodenticides in tamper-proof bait boxes is much more common. Professional assistance will be necessary to control insect infestations and to avoid contaminating food. Food, small utensils and equipment should be removed prior to spraying with insecticide, and all work surfaces must be thoroughly cleaned after treatment to remove any traces of insecticide and dead insects. If you find evidence of pests, report it to management immediately. Log it in a pest sighting book. Who found the pest? Where was it? How many? When? Was it alive? Have you managed to catch a specimen? The more information you can supply, the more effective and swift any treatment will be. This book can also be used to record hygiene, housekeeping and proofing defects. Contact your local authority environmental health department or a private operator as soon as possible. You can find them in the telephone book under Pest Control. Describe your find, if possible, showing them any specimens you may have obtained and the location where they were found. Follow the advice of the pest control professional. They'll recommend any action needed, including proofing, and can provide the services necessary to control the problem quickly and with a minimum of fuss. Food environments will always be at risk of pest invasion, but with your help we can ensure that they face stiff opposition.